Part one, we talked about desires and how they make us feel about wanting more. Okay, yeah. So we talked a little bit about desire and how when we get to a certain point in our life when things no longer fit as neatly as they used to, we come to what we call the edge. It's what I like to call the edge anyway. And then when you're on this edge, you have to make a decision, but you're being driven by desires. You know, sometimes your desire is for more freedom. Your desire is to go more places. Your desire is to, have a bigger space. Whatever it is that you're feeling like it's just something that you're starting to lean into. That's where you're on the edge and you're getting to the point where you need to make a decision or something like that. So that's what we talked about on Monday, the edge and being able to sit there. Yeah, the desire for comfort, peace, and rest. Absolutely. That's what we also talked about that. We also talked about that. Thank you, Allie. Because sometimes our lives get so busy and we are attending to everybody else but ourselves. When we start to take out, we start to get those desires for the comfort and the rest, and we get those desires for the comfort and the rest, and people are looking at us like, like really what's going on. But for you, you're right there on the edge of that, and you're wanting to take that, but we're still worried sometimes about what other people might think or feel about what we're doing. I don't know why we do that, but I think it's the human condition. I think it's a default. Keisha says, my Bible reading and the schooling and slowing down to actually rest and take my time. I feel rushed. Yeah. And so so you have the desire to slow down. You can look at it that way. You're right. You've been working toward getting to the edge where you're like, okay, I need to slow down. What are some things that I'm going to need to change in my life? Toward getting to the edge where you're like, okay, I need to slow down. What are some things that I'm going to need to change in my life so I can slow this train down just a little bit? So that's kind of what we talked about on Monday. But then now we're going into this next to this next part. And this part is just as important, about how to stand at the edge without rushing yourself to move. So we desire what we desire, and now we're on the edge. But what I want you to remember, if you remember nothing else from this conversation today, I want you to remember why most of us rush when we get to this point, when we get to this edge, when we get to where we've changed some things in our life, we've done some healing, and now it's just like, okay, now I need to make a decision so I can carry this thing all the way through, so I can see it all the way out, so I can see my desires, right? Most of us don't rush because we're excited. We rush because we're uncomfortable. How many times have we said that decisions come out of discomfort? But I want us to get excited about making these decisions to better our life, to better our being. Because I want to be excited about the decisions I make. I don't want to make them out of fear. I don't want to make them because I'm all of a sudden feeling uncomfortable in this spot, in this space that I'm in. Does that make sense to anybody? You know what I'm saying? I want to be able to make decisions out of excitement. I want to be able to feel like, well, if I make this decision, this is going to be the best thing for the best me, the best part of me. Not, okay, well, I got to do something. I've made it this far. I can't, I can't just can't stop right here. I got to make a decision. I got to do something. I don't want to make my decisions from that. I want to make my decisions from a space of fullness. So let's talk about why we rush when we're at the edge. When we reach an edge of our life, we feel pressure to do something. We want to name it. We want to fix it. We want to explain it. We need to feel the need to tell people why we are where we are, why it feels like we've stopped on our healing journeys. Because we've done the listening, we've gathered information. And some things that make us rush is because we want some certainty. Our body feels like it needs to catch up to our mind. Our body's kind of lagging behind. Our mind is like, yeah, this is what we want. And this is how we can get it. But our body is just like not cooperating. Because it's wanting certainty. And we might not be able to give it any certainty. Next time we meet, we're going to talk about the clarity that we need to make these decisions. But for now, your body just wants some relief. You just want some relief from the whole thing. You just want a reprieve from having to trying to figure things out. We want to hurry up and move past this. Hey, Bev, welcome in. We want to hurry up and move past this because we want to look like we got it all together. At a time when just about everybody is falling apart in some way, shape, form, or fashion, we feel like we want to look like we got it all together. Welcome in, Bev. Welcome in. We are on part 2. We are standing on the edge and trying not to feel rushed to make a decision. And we can be still. There's a lot of things that tell us to be still. There are Bible passages that tell us to be still. Thank you for getting your heart, me. There's songs that tell us to be still. And just because we're standing still at the edge does not, by any means, mean that we're stagnant. It just means we're listening, because remember, we're listening for what? Information. We're listening to our feelings. We're listening to our emotions, because we're no longer acting, right? We're no longer reacting. We are responding. And so we're listening to our emotions and listening to our emotions for gathering information that we can use. Remember, emotions are information. So remember, pausing is not quitting. That's something I had to deal with. I had to get it through my thick skull that just because something got put on pause doesn't mean that it's never going to come to fruition, that it's never going to be what I wanted it to be. And so then we start to change our mindset around the things that we wanted so very badly. And just because we hit a roadblock, we think that it's never going to happen. So we take our mind off of it. Good morning, Iris. Welcome in. Sometimes clarity only comes when we stop forcing answers. Because, sometimes we just feel like we have to know everything. Somebody could tell you, I know for a fact you're going to receive $1 million tomorrow. I would be trying to figure out where it's coming from. Okay, well, see, this probably would happen, or this might happen, or this could happen. And then if that would happen, then that would happen. Anybody else trying to figure it all out? And all we have to do is be still. That's it. That's it. But that's a tough one to learn. I'm still working through it. I'm still working to that one. I'm still working on that one. Good morning. Good morning. Welcome in. Welcome in. We are right in the middle of part 2 of The Edge. Standing next to the edge without feeling rushed. Let me tell you what the edge is. The edge is a nervous system moment. Remember when we first started these live, we always talked about regulating our nervous system. And I used to say we're moisturizing our nervous system. The edge can feel like an unsafe place. And that's usually because it is. But not because it's dangerous. It's just can be unsafe because it's unfamiliar territory. Good morning. Good morning. Salting your sidewalks. Oh my goodness, you got ice. And we got fog. Your body is going to want certainty before your spirit is ready to move. Now, that is a fact. And this is where a grace comes into play. This is where you show yourself that grace. Because this is a whole nervous system regulation type deal, dealing on the edge and not jumping. And not jumping into that thing. Because you don't even know if you have the capacity for it or not. We're going to talk about that too. Because sometimes we haven't even done the work to get it what it is that we want, what it is that we think we need. And how do we know we can handle it? How do we know we can hold it? So we need to learn how to stay still and gather up enough information to find out if we can even handle this thing that we want. Especially if you're dreaming big like you're supposed to be. Especially if you're dreaming big and living bold like you're supposed to be. You need to wonder if you can hold and handle your dreams. So what's it look like to be there on the edge and not rush? We're just noticing things instead of deciding. We're noticing what fits, what doesn't fit, what feels good, what doesn't. Are there any triggers over there? We need to be looking for that too. And here's another big thing. I've been getting a lot of stuff on my timeline about not announcing every little thing that you do, about keeping your mouth shut about your plans. There's so many different angles to that. So many different angles to that. And it's a big one. It's one that we really, really, really need to look at. Because, yeah, sometimes telling other people what we got going on makes us accountable. But sometimes it pushes us out of that mojo. It pushes us out of that thing, out of that feeling, out of that being. Because we just feel like we need to get it out. So let's journal it instead. Make a voice memo about it. If you just feel like you need to talk, make a voice memo. I'm telling you, if something ever happens to me, somebody get my phone and erase my chat GPT and my voice memos, please and thank you. That's where all the good juicy stuff is. Hey, Lena. Welcome in. JC, you got me? Somebody's going to have to get hold of this phone and get rid of those two things. I'm not even worried about any pictures or anything like that. How are you this morning, Lena? Thank you for grabbing your heart me. While we're standing at the edge, something else we can do before we jump is observe patterns instead of forcing plans. Thank you for the roses. Observe patterns instead of forcing plans. That's going to take a little time to practice. It's not a failure. And it's not something that you're gonna master right at the very first time you try to do it. Sometimes you're gonna jump into things that you not even ready for, you don't even have the capacity for. Emotionally, this is what we're talking about. Because when it gets time to move, you'll know. When you get clear, when you get clarity, you don't have to push it. Clarity has a way of arriving when you've listened long enough. So if you have to wonder if you're clear, you're not. You'll know when you're clear. You'll know when that clarity comes. Movement that comes from alignment feels softer than movement that comes from fear. Remember I was saying how I wanted to make my decisions from a place of softness instead of from a place of fear? I think we all want that. Why would we not? Those decisions are easier because you're already clear. You have your clarity already. You ever just pray for clarity? It's one thing about a prayer for clarity. You tend to really listen more for an answer when you're praying for clarity. Because you're hoping, you're praying, you're looking, wishing for a sign. Show me something. Show me something so I know I'm on the right path. That's clarity. So, question for the chat. Feel free to answer out loud, answer in the chat, or just answer in your head. Where are you feeling pressure to rush right now? What are you right on the edge of and you're not quite sure of it, but you're feeling the need to make a decision right now? It could be in your work life. It could be in your personal life. You could have been thinking about a career change, and all of a sudden that desire to change your career gets so big that you're jumping onto everything that you can find, trying to find another career. And you jump off into something before it's time. You quit your first job before it's time. That's getting to the edge and jumping too soon. So think about what it might look like if you just gave yourself more time. More time to figure things out. More time to think things through. Maybe there's something that just feels unclear, not necessarily wrong, just unclear. Because we're looking for that clarity. So just to go back to the main point of today's message, is that most of us don't rush because we're excited. We rush because we're uncomfortable. We don't rush because we're excited. We rush because we're uncomfortable. So we have to figure out a way to make good out of being uncomfortable, because we don't want to make decisions before it's time to make decisions, before we have that clarity and before we have that capacity. And that's what we're going to talk about next time. We're going to talk about the capacity for our desires, to see if we even have space for it. So that's what we're going to talk about next. But before that, though, y'all know what time it is. Hearts in the chat for affirmations. Poetic Gardener, thank you for joining. A poetic garden, I'm sorry. Yes, thank you for my orange hearts. Y'all, it ended up being pretty bright. The day came on out. All right. The first affirmation: I allow clarity to unfold in its own time. I allow clarity to unfold in its own time. Don't forget, If you want these affirmations, you can look on my page and you will be able to screenshot them. I'll make a post with them on there. The affirmations and the journal prompts. And of course, if you're rewatching this on YouTube, you can always just pause and rewind. And I'll put the affirmations and the journal prompts at the end of this video. The next affirmation is, I do not rush myself to feel safe. I do not rush myself to feel safe. Stillness is a form of wisdom. Remember, we said it's okay to be still, because stillness is a form of wisdom. I trust myself to know when it's time to move. You'll know when you get that clarity, and you'll always know when it's time to move. I am allowed to pause without explanation. You don't owe nobody nothing, especially an explanation. If any of those affirmations resonated with you, tap the screen. Let me know that you heard them. Let me know that they're going to carry you through the day and give you something to hold on to until we meet again. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So just kind of in closing, let me say this. Standing at the edge doesn't mean you're doing nothing. You're not just standing there twiddling your thumbs. It means you're honoring yourself enough to listen, to gather information. In the next Sunrise Live, we'll talk about weapons and clarity, how to expand your capacity to hold what you want. So until then, let yourself pause without judgment. And I want you to dream big as you possibly can, so big that your dreams scare you. Live bold, live so bold that people think you've lost it. And imagine the life that you want to live, because it's yours to do so. I really appreciate you all being with me this morning, sharing this space with me, holding space for me, and holding space for each other. I absolutely, positively appreciate it. It is Wednesday. Hump day. What's everybody got planned? Thank you so much for liking the live. Thank you for all your wisdom. Your voice is so calming this morning. Oh, thank you, JC. You're so kind. You're so kind. I feel really calm this morning. Working on the car, hoping I don't. Yeah, let's not. Thanks for the go popular, Chanel. Let's stay injury free today. Cool. I can dig that. I can dig that. Good. I'm glad. I feel the same way today, and I hope everybody else does too. I hope I was able to give somebody a word that they may have needed, and delivered it in a way that was, pleasing. All right, y'all. I will see you all on Wednesday for part 3. And we're going to be talking about capacity in part 3. So don't miss it. 6:30 a.m. Central Time. It is Wednesday. It is. So I'll see y'all on Friday. Did I say Wednesday? See, JC? That's why you the man. Oh, because see, yeah. Okay, I got it. I get it. Friday. I will see you all on Friday. Thank you so much, Chanel. All right, y'all. Y'all take care. I'll see you on Friday. Dream big, live bold, y'all. Take care. Know what day it is? Bev, you have a good day. I know. I'm just too relaxed. I'm just way too relaxed this morning. You too. You take care, JC. See y'all later.